Today we will going to discuss a very important topic, that is what is wave technology. Okay, and wave technology takes a very vital role, and in order to make a career also, today you could have seen a lot of advertisement coming up saying that we require full stack developer and all. Before a couple of years back, 5 6 years back, or you can say even 10 years back, IT industry was looking for people who are good at the front end, who are good at the back end, okay, who may be a UX expert, who may be good in the middleware technologies and all these things. But now the companies has become choosy, okay, and they are looking a person who has a in and out knowledge about all, starting from the front end to the back end, okay, to the middleware technologies, okay, to the UX design and everything, which we typically it is called as the full stack developer itself. Okay, so very demand for the full stack developer itself. So if you talk about full stack development, means we are talking about entire web technologies itself. So web technologies are nothing but it's a combination of the markup language and the multimedia packages it has, and where you start communicating, sharing, and the information across each other. Okay, right. So it is one of the best to which in the when I was talking about internet itself, you see we are exchanging informations, you are sharing information, and even when you are talking about waypoint 1.0 to waypoint 2.0, we are talking about participating, right? Okay, and today in waypoint 3.0, we are talking about semantic. You can see how the things are moving up. Okay, and now on in order to support this, how technologies also has evolved. And in this particular session, we'll be talking about the all this particular aspect of web technology, starting from the front end to the back end to the middleware itself. Okay, so when I say web technologies, all these things comes into the perspective itself. We talk about the browser, okay, we talk about the HTML, CSS, we talk about the different frameworks that are available in the market itself, the programming language, the libraries, the protocols, the rules and all, the APIs, the application package interface, the data format, the format of the data and in which you are accessing the information, the client side, the server side, and the CMS, which we call as the content management system itself. Okay, so whole all the web technology we talked about. So we'll see each one of this one by one. So what exactly browser itself is? So we today also we are we are interacting with all of you, okay, through which Google Meet, okay, and we know that Google has one of the browser which is called as the Google Chrome. So browser is a way in through which you are representing the information itself on the in particular client side. This is one of the what you can say, it is one of the software itself. Okay, so browser requests information and they show up in the way that we understand. That's what it been to say. So whom the browser will be sending the request? The browser will be sending the request to the server, right? Okay, once the browser requests the server will try to process this particular request, and as a result, okay, right, it will send back the process information in terms of response back to the browser, and the browser will show us to us, and we and in a way such a way that we usually understand. Okay, so like you can think something like a interpreter in on a particular way. So there are a lot of popular web browsers are there. Okay, so Google Chrome is one which I have already done. Then Safari is one which we on the Apple web browser itself, and then we have the Firefox. Okay, the open source browser supported by Mozilla Foundation. Then nevertheless to say we have the Microsoft's Internet Explorer itself, right? Then come to HTML and CSS. No doubt in the subsequent session we'll be discussing HTML in more details, okay, and CSS also in more detail. But HTML, it is one of the foundation block, okay, right? One of the first thing you should learn, that is whenever you are talking about web technology itself, okay, HTML you know is one the first thing that we need to learn. Today you'll be astonished to know that class 5 6 students are starting doing coding and all these things and all, and the HTML has become a cakewalk for all them. Okay, so they can start writing the HTML code. A lot of browsers, sorry, a lot of editors are also available through which you can easily write the codes. Okay, right. And thanks to HTML, they said the web browser know what to show when they receive the request itself. Okay, so we'll have one more session on which how exactly when you talk about a browser now, how exactly actually browser start writing or painting, we can call the entire content into the into the web page in the web page itself. Okay, so that is something called as rendering of web page, which you also see will be discussed in the subsequent session itself. It's very interesting how you'll create a tree itself. Okay, how CSS comes into picture, how JavaScript comes into picture and all. Okay, then as I was telling you, HTML makes the basic foundation blocks and all this thing, but you require some kind of more kind of elegancy of the website. Okay, right. The look and feel and all this thing that will be supported nothing by the CSS. Okay, so CSS stands for cascading style skills. Okay, and it describe how HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen, right? When you're talking about I want to make something on the center and to something about round shape or different shapes, some colors. Okay, a lot you will know there are a lot of color model also, hexa models are there, RBC models and all these things. Okay, so this is something which the CSS will make your page look more elegant. Okay, right. So more appealing to the particular user. It's something like I usually say, when you are designing a web page, more of a science also, more of artistics also come into picture, because the way you want to display the information. Okay, and you want to attract the your audience itself is a very big things. So that is how you need to create your CSS. Okay, so frameworks, let's comes to the framework itself, right? I already told you there are a lot of frameworks available in the market itself. Okay, one of the most popular framework is the Angular JS, and it is a JavaScript framework, and is perfect for single page applications, which we call it as SPA, right? Right. So before you actually get into study Angular JS, I always advise that you should have some basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript itself. Typically framework is something which you should learn after learning these particular basics things. Okay, right. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And when you talk, this is we are talking about the front end size. Suppose you are talking about the back end size also, you are talking about uh, PHP, then I think you should, if you before understanding a framework, it's very essential that you should understand PHP as a programming language itself. Okay, so you can say I name one. Cake PHP is one of the open source framework of PHP, and it intend to make you develop and deploy and maintain an application much easier, because they follow a model architecture or a model which is called as MVC, which is model, view, and control. Okay, so this will be clear when you will be understanding PHP, then we'll be moving into any kind of framework itself. Other frameworks that are very popular for PHP are Laravel. I think you have heard about it. Okay, Code Igniter is also there. Yes. So, and another JavaScript related framework is Node.js, which is also open source server framework itself. Okay, and this is free. Okay, this is free and runs on. It can run on various platforms, like it can be on Windows, it can be on Linux, it can be Unix and all. Apart from that, there is another framework called Express.js, and it's minimum and flexible Node.js, right? So this is not an exhaustive list. You'll get a lot of available frame, but these are certain popular. That's why I put it up. Okay, so that is something. See, if you really want to have a knowledge, you really want to be a very big full developer itself, Node.js is one which you should actually learn about it. And apart from that, either Angular JS, and when I talk about library, you will come to know another popular library. It's called at the React JS. Okay, so industry are looking people who are having expertise either Angular JS or in the React JS and Node JS itself. Okay, so having said this, you see that coordinator which I was talking about, this another powerful PH frameworks
Yes.
which yes, hello,
Sir, actually, I'm having one doubt.
please.
Sir, actually, I'm just a little bit confused because we know we have a HTML and PHP,
huh,
but there is one thing on other this other thing is that in HTML ASP.NET, and
huh,
there is one other thing is there HTML Python, HTML with Java. It's for backend thing. I'm just telling you, like
huh.
in which one like some people are confused ki which one they will go for, which one
Okay,
they will prefer.
I will tell you. See, first and foremost thing in the front end part, okay, the basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, okay, has to be there. Okay, right? Initially, whenever you are looking for a job in the freshers, okay. Apart from that, it will be like a cherry on the cherry on the cake if you know any kind of framework, maybe Node.js, AngularJS, and all. Okay, I'm talking about or React.js as a library. That is, I'm talking about the front end. In the
Okay,
back
sir.
end itself, right? Back end itself, a lot of technologies are there, right? One is the PHP. Okay, many websites and other things are develop, and PHP also have a lot of job opportunities. Okay, now there is one more, which is Java, where people has a very strong, what is a conceptual thing that Java actually has a lot strong, foundation itself. So Java also, like Java, that is called, I think, Spring and all. Okay, so
Spring
that
and
also
Hibernate.
Hibernate and all, that is also one opportunities or through which you can go. Python actually, mostly they are not using most in the the web technology itself, but still it's a demand. But Python has a very big application on ML, AI. Okay, right? This type of application in terms of in terms of that, ML, AI, big data analytics and all these things. So they have that particular Python. But my perspective is very simple, is like that. Keep, please learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. You should be very master of that. Okay, that is number one. Second, after that, try for Node.js and AngularJS, okay, or React.js, whatever it is. And in the backend side, PHP is a very simple language to learn quickly, adapt, and to do. Okay, so you can do that. Now, once you do that, once you move into the industry, okay, right? Some industry will be only working on PHP. You will get an opportunity to work on PHP. Now, some industry may not be working on PHP. They may have in a they may be working on a .NET technology. They may be working on a Java a technology itself. But having said that, if you really want to yeah, have a very basic knowledge of understanding of programming, okay, on the server side scripting to PHP, then it will become very easy for to you to move to either to the .NET or to Java itself. Okay, right. So because if you see very closely, you have studied C now. Okay, all of you have studied C. Now you have Java. You can understand that knowing C has really helped you to understand Java more quickly itself. You try it. I will tell you. There is a concept called as learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay, whatever you have learned, okay, something we have to unlearn. Like C is a typically, it is a structured program oriented language, but here when you move into Java, the paradigm of C, okay, the object oriented programming concept. But when you look into this, but the programming aspects remain same. You have a sequence, you have iterations, okay, selection and iteration and all this thing. Then you are induced with some kind of libraries and all this thing. Then you're talking about the paradigm, how you are creating the class, how you're creating the objects, okay, how you are using the encapsulations, because when you talk about C language, data and what you say, code, okay, there is no binding. Okay, freely code, data moves through the code. But when you actually do programming in Java and C++ in object oriented, okay, there is a complete binding of the data and the binding of data and the code. Right, the code doesn't move itself, so that's what encapsulation, information hidings, and all these things. Right, then come inheritance, and so it becomes very easy, right? So typically, if you really want to have your career as a web technology, I will insist on understanding HTML5, okay, understanding CSS, understanding JavaScript, okay. See, I have my own startup company. Very soon we are looking for some interns for 6 months, okay, and we have made a complete advertisement, looking in that I need your expertise in this particular thing: HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, or jQuery, okay. And if you have a knowledge of PHP, or it can be your what you say Python and all, it's an added advantage that we have given, okay. And we have very clearly mentioned that we're going to give 1 month of training, either on Angular JS, okay, React JS, and I on PHP framework itself, depending upon the project. After 1 month, which you will be landing into on the client side, okay. So what the client will, so we are working on a certain project with the client said no, we are going with the Java, then we'll move into the Spring and all, so the people will be trained on that, okay. So it all depends, everything depends. IT industry, it's not like that. You see, if I go I think Mahesh, I think you'll understand better, because right now you are doing some projects also. So
Yes,
when you
sir.
talk with the client, okay, if the client said I want in PHP, and you don't have people in PHP, will you going to leave that project? You tell me. You will not, right? Because you have bundle
Yeah.
of people who have knowledge. Only thing is required is just some PHP expert. So what you going to, you will going to take that project, you will find out some
Yes.
PHP experts, and you will going to, you'll buy in that particular project. You will not leave that
Yes,
project
sir.
and come, okay.
Yes, sir.
Apart from that, if the projects, 3 4 projects is coming in PHP, and one person who is expert in Java, okay, like say Spring and all, okay, and if he insists, he says that I'm sitting idle, sir, it's better you learn PHP quickly, yeah. Yes,
Yes,
that's
sir.
what
Yes, sir.
scaling up in the IT industry happens. Okay. So when you talk about big data analytics, when you talk about ML and AI, are people sitting there? There are people of age of me and been hired at that. Okay, right? There are people who have basic knowledge. They may not have knowledge of ML and what machine learning or AI, right? Or data analytics. Are they sitting? I don't know. They are not learning it. They are learning
Yes,
Python. They
sir.
are learning libraries, and they are moving on. So learning is something, is a constant factor, okay, right? In an IT industry, you have to keep on learning and all these things, right? Okay, see, if you see, I have mentioned that ASP.NET, MVC, Ruby is on the net, right? Ruby is on the net is also one of the what do you say uh, best things which many IT industries are also working on it, right? So it's become very hard, and but I have seen, not you people, because I have interacted with students across India for last starting from 2007 itself. So always they have that particular curiosity ki I should learn, sir. If I become a Java expert, what is good, you become a Java expert, okay, I'm not denying about it. But the thing is that whenever you, as a freshers, whenever moving it, okay, your ability is your skill, your NIT skill, your programming skill, okay. And I'm sure if your programming skill is very good, okay, any kind of language tomorrow I give you, you will going to understand it. Say for example, you are speaking in English, okay, you are speaking, you know how to communicate with one particular language. If you understand the language in and out, yes, from the symbols to the numbers to everything, so tomorrow learning French also will not be a difficult for you, okay. So that is something which you should keep in mind, and you should move ahead, okay. But thing is that I have seen student, it will start from PHP, then it will move to Python, then it will move to Spring, and at the end of 3 4 months they don't know anything, okay. So please stick to one. If you are said PHP means PHP, in and out you understand, learn everything, okay. No, Java, Spring, Hibernate, bro, from end to end. No, I want to have in ASP.NET, go ASP.NET. I want to have in what you say, Python, go in Python. But see, one thing also important, there is proprietary software, that is open source software, right? So proprietary software is very difficult for you to get and understand and learn. That is why reason many of the companies are coming up with academic models and all these things through which you can learn, right? But PHP, right, Pythons and all these things are free. There is open source, and you have a very large community to support you. Okay, right? See, I will tell you my experience just 1 year back. Okay, during this COVID period, also I was working on a project in Go programming.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it's a US based company. I have taken 2 students from our gift college also. Yes,
Okay,
and
sir.
one of the student and myself has been we have what you say, certified from Coursera also in Go programming. You cannot
Okay,
imagine
sir.
the struggle that we had, because the
Yes, sir.
community of Go community is very less small, because it is a new language from the Google. Okay, very
Yes,
versatile
sir.
language, right? So it become difficult. But today, if you talk about PHP, large community you will be having. You will get lot of what you say, support from this particular people and all this thing. So as a learner, initial learner, I will be looking for a particular thing which I will get maximum support. Try to understand. Okay, so when I get maximum support, when I understand in and out of that particular language itself, then moving into another language will be like cakewalk for me. Is it okay, all of you? Am
Yes,
I
sir.
making it very clear? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so any doubt on this?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Mahesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, or koi? Anybody? Fine. So I will move ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So some more frameworks. Say Jan is also one of the open source framework of PHP. Uh, we framework is also one of the PHP. Symfony one time it was very famous. So, okay, right? Yes. Now again you can ask me the question. So which particular framework I showed you? You take one particular framework. Either you take Laravel, either you take Coordinator, either you take Jan. Okay, these are more popular, framework across the in industry itself. Once you understand one framework, see everybody is, if you see MVC, see MVC design pattern. MVC design, the model view controller. Have you seen that? Right? Yes. So things are, the entire architecture or something like that will be same. Okay. So understanding one framework and then moving into the framework will not be a difficult. So understand one framework. Either you take a Jan, either you take a Laravel, or either you take a Coordinator. Okay, and learn to the end. Okay, right? If time permits in my entire the course duration, if time permits, then we'll going to have some session on Laravel. Oh, Laravel, framework, so that you will learn, because your course is you have all HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. Okay, then PHP, MySQL, the big course. Okay, so we'll see if it can, we can combine it something like that, or if we can have some kind of extra sessions where we can go for some Laravel framework
Yes,
itself,
sir.
and we'll study PHP. We'll go ahead. Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So another is Bootstrap. Have you heard of Bootstrap?
Yes, sir.
So this is something which is called a responsive web design. Let me tell you what is responsive web design. Okay, so today if you see, we are not talking about workstation, we are not talking about computer, some desktop itself, we are not talking about a laptop, we are not talking about tablet, we are not talking about mobile phone. And also mobile phone, you can see varieties of screen sizes and all this thing. So now what happened, if I want to develop a particular website and I want to cater that website to all these particular devices, irrespective whatever the size of the screen is, okay, then really I need to create something, okay, the website in such a way that based on that particular screen size, the automatically my entire content will be fit up into that. Okay, and that is what is called responsive. Yes, right. So in order to have responsive, okay, in CSS we have a concept which is called as multimedia media query, sorry, media query and all. Then one of the most famous framework is Bootstrap. Tutor is completely made of that particular, Bootstrap itself. Okay, yes. So this will help you in order to, create a website that automatically adjusts based on the devices on which it has been loading up. Okay, so I create a website www.rupesh.com. Okay, now I open with my Android phone, whether I open with my what you say Samsung phone, whether it is my Apple phone, or it may be Apple or whatever it is. I take a what you say tablet, I take a laptop, I take a workstation, I take a desktop, whatever it is. Everywhere the entire content will be fit. Okay, right, which will be become very attractive and user friendly. Okay, and that is what the entire concept of Bootstrap. Or otherwise, what I have to do, I have to design my website based on all this particular device. For phone I have to devise, for a tablet I have to devise a way, or for a desktop I have to devise, because a bigger screen coming up into picture. Okay, so that becomes very difficult. So you need to have certain way to which the website becomes more responsive. Okay, now the programming language, you are asking me, right? See, all Ruby is also there. You can see it. Go programming that I have written. Okay, that is one programming language called as Swift, from the Apple itself. Okay, right. CoffeeScript is one from the JavaScript. JavaScript, all of you know. Python, all of you know. You have a Django framework also with that. Okay,
Yes, sir.
PHP, right? Okay, right. So all these particular programming languages. Now, is it possible for me to know all the language? Tell me one thing. Hello.
नहीं सर, ऐसे कुछ नहीं है आपका, जान सकते हैं.
हाँ, नहीं जान सकते हैं, लेकिन एक हर लैंग्वेज पे मास्टर तो नहीं बन सकते ना.
नहीं सर.
पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. करेक्ट.
Yes sir.
Yes.
Yes sir.
So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
what we can do is that we will going to learn one language. Okay, and then by time, see, I am not saying that always you should know Python or Ruby. Tomorrow one more new language will come. Okay, and you see that language is actually helping you to create your application faster. Okay, all clients are looking into that. Then automatically what happened, you will going to have to learn that particular language, no?
Yes sir.
That is what happening in US and European countries, mostly in US. So many of the application are now converting to Go language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you see newer language builds for speed? It is very speed because it is a combination of C and Java. It is a combination of C language and Java language. Okay, they have taken the best part of both the language and have designed that particular Go language. Okay, right. So that way, so it is something like that. One particular language you take it up, okay, and you do, right. And since in your course you have PHP, please take it as a PHP. In your course you also have now Java and Python. Okay, learn that. Okay, and stop thinking about Ruby, stop thinking about Go, Swift, and other things. Okay,
Yes,
right. Yes, focus on a particular thing.
Yes sir.
Okay, libraries.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of libraries. So React.js is one of the very famous libraries. Even jQuery is also one particular library. It is called a lightweight, write less, and do more. That is why the reason jQuery is very, very famous, because it makes you can see every time. The purpose of jQuery is to make it easier to use JavaScript on a in your website. Okay, because write less and do more. Okay, React.js. This is a front-end library developed by Facebook. Right. Okay, and this has become very, very popular, typically for mobile application and all these things. Okay, right. Yes, then we have another library. Lot of libraries are there. I'm just putting up Knockout.js. Okay, based on the MVVM pattern that develops. Okay, easy ways. Backbone.js also, it's operate the MVC framework itself. Okay, but very famous is libraries we are having, it's a React.js or the jQuery itself. Okay, right. Yes, so you can learn this particular thing, but learning this language you should understand, I hope you should know, complete have a knowledge of JavaScript, full knowledge of JavaScript, full knowledge of HTML and CSS. Okay, moving ahead.
Yes, sir.
Protocols. What do you understand by protocols?
set of
Can
rules.
anybody tell me? Yeah, set of rules. Okay. So whenever we are talking about set of rules to which we are governing the entire request and response format, how website has been loaded into the browser and all this thing. So typically the protocol that comes in our mind is HTTP, which is called hypertext markup language. Okay, right? Have you heard of this? Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ पे
Yes,
सुनो.
sir.
Where you heard this? Where?
Sir, when we open a browser, that link start with HTTP. So
Okay.
I saw there and searched the full form of that HTTP in internet.
HTTP internet. Okay.
तो और एक भी है ना HTTPS, कुछ है HTTPS करके भी बोलते हैं.
HTTPS मतलब इसको बोलते हैं सिक्योर फॉर्मेट.
Secure sir.
हाँ, तो नॉर्मली तुम जब बैंक साइट में जाते हो ना, राइट, बैंकिंग
sir.
साइट में देखना इट ऑलवेज इट विल कम HTTP करके आता है.
Yes, sir.
ओके, राइट,
Yes, sir.
अंडरस्टूड. यस.
Yes, sir.
उसके बाद तुम्हारा और एक तो हो गया रेस्ट. रेस्ट तुम लोगों सुना हो, रेस्ट एपीआई.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो नाउ
Yes,
इट इज सोप करके एक होता था, रेस करके है. अभी इट्स अ वेरी डिमांड. Okay, it is called as representational state transfer. That is what it is called the rest. Okay, right. And another, previously it was SOAP. Okay,
Soap.
simple object access protocol.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay, right. So REST actually comes up in the times of what you say in the middleware technology itself. Okay, very
sir.
now
उस समय get and उसमें दो method था ना, get post.
हाँ. Well, I have not a good knowledge in REST right now. Okay, मैं काम नहीं किया हूँ. Okay, right. So what is API? Anybody can tell me? What is API?
Application Programming Interface.
See, right, I if I suppose something like that, if I say that I want to create one login screen of using my Gmail and all these things and all. Okay, so what I will have to do, I have to get the code. Okay, the code will be shared and all these things. So without that, what I can do is that I can create an interface, right? And through that interface I can easily do that accessing of that. So API is application programming interface that allow other developer to use some of the app's functionality without sharing the code. Understood, right? Yes. So using that particular API itself, okay, right, and then you can easily. So some of the based on examples are created by Facebook, Twitter, Google for the web service, and you can take that particular API. Okay, for example, आप अगर Google Map, if you want to put a Google Map into your website, that's how will going to do?
Sir, Google Map API को call करना पड़ेगा.
Right. So suppose I want to show that this is my company and I am putting my company office address, and I have created a small map there and to showcase that where my company office is. Okay, so I created a Google Map. Now the thing is that I one possible aspect is that I could have created my own map and all these things. Correct? Why I should do? Already available it is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. I just connect my I will just take the Google help. Okay, API. Okay, and with the Google I can easily show my office address. That is what the API itself. Correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now come data formats.
Hello, sir. One question.
Okay.
Sir. Yes, sir. What the difference between APK and API?
What is the difference between APK
and API?
APK full form क्या है बताओ तो पहले बस.
Sir, I don't know, sir.
बोलो.
It's
Sir, application programming kit.
You have asked, something like that. eh, what is the difference between Shahrukh Khan and Cristiano Ronaldo?
सर दोनों का फॉर्मेट ही अलग है.
Ah, ठीक है. API is an overall thing, okay, right? API, when you call up application, any kind of application, you're talking about where you will be creating some kind of interface. But APK is related to your Android application, which we call as Android application package file format. Okay. So this APK, jab to make Android application, if you create it, okay, then what will going to happen is that you'll bundle up the entire application, and the format at which you're going to do is that APK, right? And that APK itself will be used in order to upload into that, your whatever it no Play Store and all these things and all. So you'll be downloading that, then you'll installing and all this thing. So APK is nothing but Android application package. Package मतलब पूरा चीज उसको बना दिया, ठीक है, right? And it is used by whom? It is used by the Android operating system or any kind of operating system that has been that is actually what you say related to some kind of Android itself. Okay, and it is used for distribution, installing mobile apps, mobile games, and middleware. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Hello?
clear.
Okay, very good. Okay, so data format. Okay, data for see, if I started talking in in Japanese language, now anybody of you can understand? Tell me.
No, sir.
So suppose I shared one information in Japanese, Mahesh started sharing one information in German, another Vishwaranjan started sharing in French, or somebody has started his own language. What will going to happen? You tell me. What is going to happen? Exchange of
कोई
information
understand
of
नहीं हो
data.
पाएगा.
So there has to be certain
The
formats.
deadlock situation.
So what I have to do, I will have to convert this my script into one particular script which has been known by all. Okay, Mahesh also will be having that. So typically, what we have suggested that why don't we have some format? Like one of the most popular format is CSV. Okay, today if you see, if you really want to bulk of data, if we want to upload into an database itself, typically we can do with the CSV file. Yes, I will show you in MySQL, in a subsequent class how I can create 1,000 more data, large data I can do, and I can easily upload using the CSV. The entire thing is that the CSV format at which I am doing it, it should represent the exact number of fields, the exact number of pattern in which the field are being represented. Okay, and then I can easily upload it. Another is an XML, extensive markup language, where you don't have some kind of predefined tags and all these things. Okay, through which we can also change. One of the most popular notation of exchanging your data, just like XML, is called as JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. Okay, and it is said it is currently has becoming the one of the most popular data format out here.
Yes.
Okay, right? Now come to the client side. I think all of you know what is client side. Tell me.
कंप्यूटर मोबाइल जो कि सर्वर में अपने ये में होगा, मतलब जैसे कंप्यूटर हो गया, मोबाइल हो गया, अपने लैपटॉप्स में होगा.
So client side actually is the it's client. When you talk about client, means something which the user itself, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So each user have an application which is called as the client. Okay, so I'm using my mobile phone. Okay, the mobile device will become my client side, tablet, and all this, or computer. Okay, so now multiple clients are interacting with the same app stored on a server. Yes or no? Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Right, so multiple user will be served. Now the game start here. Okay, see, when we'll be talking about domain name server, domain name, you'll understand everything. No, why I write www.google.com? Now you are studying computer network, you'll understand. I can do an IP address. I can type an IP address also. If I put a if I know what is my IP address of CMS, I don't have to write cms.give.edu.in. I can write something like 127 1 dot something, sorry, 162 dot something that, and then I can put and I can go, right? But why it is required, we'll discuss, because एक ही दिन में नहीं सब कुछ, you have to understand that. Okay, now when you are talking about one particular server, you are talking about two particular server, but you have got three particular server. In looking at this, you will understand why cloud has come. If imagine there was no cloud, there is no cloud, what would have happened? I develop my website, now I have to buy my own, server. Yes, and then I have to load all the software. Okay, I will put my entire, what you say, my application itself also. Now suppose my website started hitting more. Okay, now one particular server is not satisfying, then I have to buy another server. Okay, now periodically I have to do monitoring, maintenance, and then troubleshooting also. So you can understand the huge amount. Just I am thinking of designing a I'm designing one, and you can imagine what kind of what you say, the cost is associated with it. But today, simple now. I buy one domain. Okay, I can buy the dedicated server. Okay, I can find shared server, or I can go for a simple bus. Okay, when if I know my application will be having less traffic. Now when my application started moving up in the more traffic, then I will again add more server. Yes, that is what the beauty of cloud is happening, and that is how we are able to do all these things that we are talking about. Okay, right? Next, what is server? All of us know what is server. Okay, it is the one which the application code will request and will reside, and the client will be making the request to the server. Okay, and the server will be responding to it. Yes,
Yes, sir.
correct. So we have the web server, we have the database server, correct or not? Because if you need a database, then we have to have a database server. Okay, web application installed, so we have a web server itself. Yes, right? Okay, so just I want to show you something. See, why it is taking so much time, my machine. Okay, let me show you. So let me go to the jam folder, hdoc. Okay, CNCA. Okay, I have one. Have you seen, this is one PHP file? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So my machine is a little bit of soldier. Okay, it started. See, this is one of the bundle of software which I have an Apache server. Okay, I have another FileZilla concept which I can interact with. I can directly connect with my GoDaddy server or any kind of server where I can upload, downloads things. Another, I have a Tomcat server and all these things. So see, so every server will be having some port on which and PID means the process ID that will have. So I start this up. Without this server, I cannot see. This is my PHP file. Okay, if I write something like this, sorry, if I write something like this, what I said, localhost, right? Right, see, Lucas has refused to connect because I have not started my web server itself. Okay, my machine is not now a server itself, right? I have a server, but I have to start that server. So I started my Apache server. So I will start my Apache server. Okay, so I got the processor and I port C80 HTTP, correct? HTTP port number, typically, you have that. Okay, I have not started my MySQL, server itself. Okay, let's go. Now I will click here. Oh, what happened? ओके, ये तो स्टार्ट हो गया, सर्वर तो स्टार्ट हो गया है. ओके, लेट मी सी. CA4 आ गया. Can you see? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So now let me go back, and I will show you my simple, PHP file. So I am opening it, Notepad. Okay, so you see these are all HTML, right? Inside I have this PHP code. Okay, now when the server will be executing this, okay, then it will convert into a what you say. Now you see the source code. Dekha? Simple HTML page. Have you seen or not? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? सर्वर साइड में क्या था? सर्वर साइड में देखो ये स्क्रिप्ट था, राइट? Yes. So when I was teaching you, I was telling, server will be converting entire thing, okay, into a particular web HTML page, and it will be sending back to the browser. So a HTML page has been created and is sending back into the server, and you can see the output. Like Gara4 welcomes you to the PHP programming. Okay. Now why I put a localhost? Because I have created this machine itself as both, server and what? Client. So my actually Mahesh localhost का कितना था? 127.0.0.1 था, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. So that is my IP address. Yes. So I write localhost, then I go to that. Now where I am storing it? You see, I am storing in this particular HDoc.
Yes, sir.
Right? HDocs. Correct. And right now similarly I can start my PHP MySQL, MySQL server also. Yes. So database, it will also start, doing some port. Yes. Now I can go to my admin panel. So I started my MySQL.
Yes, sir.
It's coming up under the PHP my admin. Okay, and you can see it. 1 minute. Okay, right? You see all my, I have a company called as CSLD. Okay, that is also my database is created here. Okay, Erimuga, I told you, I have this site Erimuga. Okay, you see I have that. Yes, I have a quiz DB. Okay, because I have a site called as Gara4 in order to take quizzes and all these things. Yes, because I'm doing some work here also. Before I go into this, I used to have one particular company called as Magvin. Okay, right now we don't have the website, but we do some kind of work on that. Yes, so like that we have one concept called as Tuturator, one site. Okay, right? So all these things, so all my databases are there. Okay, I can create my own database and all these things. Okay, yes, and I can work out here. And after that, once I do, I can transport my entire database into the main server itself. Okay, right? So hope you have understood what I'm into, what I was want to make you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. So right, lastly we have this content management. The three most popular thing. One is WordPress. Okay, right? The advantage of WordPress is that you can build, website blog in a second. Okay, when I mean to say in a second means very quickly. Okay, right? And it is open source. But the disadvantage is that, whenever you created a website in WordPress, now you are thinking that I will jump into some Joomla or Drupal. Okay, then what happened is that again you have to rebuild that site in the native language and put it. Okay, you are not able to do because it has its own type of structure. That is the difficulty of WordPress. So if you're thinking of a longer run, okay, if you think that you are talking about the smaller applications, and you have a limited number of people accessing your sites and all these things, and your business will be limited to that, yes, WordPress is a very good solution. But if you're thinking that you are going to get a complication more, there will be a scalability associated with it and all, okay, then I think you should go with either with Joomla and or Drupal, because this is one of the famous way. If you see some of the website, Stanford University, examiner.com, whitehouse.gov, World Economic Forum, all are created with this particular Drupal. Okay, right? So apart from this, IT companies also look for this type of people also. Okay, so you have a knowledge of front end, stack developer, plus whether you have a knowledge in any CMS, WordPress, Joomla, Drupal. Okay, if you take my personal opinion, you should start working on WordPress, because that will give you a knowledge of how to develop website quickly, right? But in a longer run, if you're thinking of defining complex application and all this thing, I suggest you should go with Drupal. Okay, right now we are on a what you say, words on doing a project on Drupal itself. Okay, so that's why we are looking for some interns for 6 months and all these things. Okay, we will be going to develop a complete secure CMS using this particular Drupal itself. Okay, so that's all for today.